Welcome back to Up North at 4, and joining me now we have Perry Pokrant and Kate Farrell. We're talking Feed Our Rural Kids, aka Fork. There's also a family food helpline, because you two are doing a lot of good for this community and making sure that kids are well fed, right? So Perry, a lot of programs going on at this time of year. I know we're getting close to the school year. What can you tell us about certain programs that are ongoing at this moment?
All right. Well, Fork runs three nutritional support programs. All are skewed around school and, of course, kids. First is our Fork Cares program, which is just wrapping up their summer version. It provides nutritional support to kids when they're away from school, summer vacation, winter vacation, spring break, those type of things. And then our Fork Now program, which is emergency food. So life happens to families. Things happen that take a family from being food secure to food insecure in literally the blink of an eye.
Right.
And Fork Now provides transitional help in that. And then we have, now we have 9 Fork Pantry locations around the Northwoods, which all of it costs money, right? To feed kids. Any parent knows it costs money to feed kids, which is why we're right now doing our Cash for Kids fundraiser. August is our fundraising month. We tie it to the start of school coming back because kids are starting to be on people's minds again, and the challenges that they face just become more real because it's hard to be hungry and go to school.
Absolutely, and I know there's studies out there that show kids who aren't being properly fed at home tend to do worse in school when it comes to that academic factor, of course. So there is real life consequences to this, or at least academic consequences tied to this. And of course, school's top of mind. Kate, you know this better than anyone with your semester, I'm sure, getting underway here in a couple of weeks. And I know you're a member of the Family Food Helpline. You're on the board over there. Tell me a little bit about what that program is all about and the work that you folks do.
Sure. So the Family Food Helpline is a partnership between Vilas County, Oneida County, and the respective social services agencies. So, the easiest way to describe this is if there is a moment of insecurity of, not knowing where to turn when you're in dire straits, you make one phone call to the Family Food Helpline, and that one number, that one toll-free number, if that's still a thing, the toll-free world, those folks are trained to listen for key words, key phrases, key ideas, and then they will deploy the necessary resources to hook people up to the resources that are going to help normalize their situation as best as possible. So it's really a one-stop shop. The person, if they're making that phone call, they've got a lot of other things to worry about. So the Family Food Helpline really takes it from the phone call on forward to help these families.
It's almost like a middleman in a way, where it says, all right, I will direct you to wherever I think you need help, and that just kind of hopefully alleviates some of that stress, correct?
Yeah, that uncertainty is really, it's a tough spot, and I think we've probably all been there at one time or another where you don't know what to do. Something happens, you don't know what to do, but to be able to check this off your list to say, okay, this is what's available to me. Sure, you could spend hours scouring the internet,
researching,
but here you get hooked up with professionals, and it allows you to get that information just like that.
Absolutely.
And the beauty of that structure is that with social services involved, they have such a expansive menu of support services to people. Oftentimes if there's a food insecurity issue, there are other issues that social services is going to be able to jump in and help out with as well. So you make the one phone call, and there may be ripple effect impacts in other ways just by making that other phone call to help mitigate some of your troubles that you're having in that moment.
Absolutely. And so I want to talk to you both about how people at home can get involved, but we're going to take a quick break. Do you mind sticking around with us for a little bit?
Sounds good.
We'll be right back on Up North at 4. North at 4, joined by Perry Pokrant and Kate Farrell, talking about Cash for Kids and Fork Feed Our Rural Kids. Of course, August is an extremely busy time of year for you folks over there. It's sort of like your main fundraising month, for lack of a better term, and the big one right now being Cash for Kids. So Perry, I know there's people at home watching. They're saying this is a great cause. I would love to get involved. I would love to help out in any way. How could they do so?
All right. Well, Cash for Kids is a partnership between the 7 financial institutions in Eagle River, who all put down their boxing gloves and all are working together towards the same goal, and that's helping feed kids for 1 month a year anyway. And so people can drop into any financial institution and make a donation, large or small, doesn't matter, because it all makes a difference. It all adds up. Or they can go online at feedourruralkids.org. That's our website. /donate and make a donation. That money goes to support the actual food programs that we mentioned earlier, the Family Food Helpline as well, that covers all of Vilas and Oneida County too. Last year we were very successful. We raised enough money to cover a little over 10,000 meals during the year, and so this is crunch time, I guess you could call it.
It is. It really is, because we're just a few weeks away from kids going back to school, and that's a very important time, especially like you bring up food insecurity, where kids, they're away from home for 8, 9, 10 hours a day potentially, and maybe the only time they get a hot meal is at lunch. So making sure that these kids have those resources is obviously super, super important. And I know last time you were on this show, Perry, we talked about how the work you're doing is super important, but you almost wish it wasn't in a weird way. It's kind of an oxymoron in a way, where you kind of wish this wasn't the case for a lot of people. And I'm curious for both of your sakes, I guess, just what does it mean for you to be involved with this program, involved with the Family Food Helpline, and see the way the community comes together to support these people? So
let me give you a little perspective. Vilas and Oneida County, 60% of households are defined by economic standards as paycheck to paycheck, which means when bad things happen, it's a problem. Yeah. And sometimes you need help to solve it. Food insecurity is not necessarily a permanent condition. It's a transient thing, and at its best, and if we can help give people a hand through that period of time when things are not going well, then we're doing our job. Because for kids it's hard. My wife taught for 35 years, and she knew when kids weren't getting food, and when they would come to school in the morning hungry, and not just academically but behaviorally, and even their social development, the whole thing is very difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously just any little way that we can alleviate that stress obviously goes a very, very long way. And of course the Family Food Helpline is there, right, Kate? And just providing those resources to family and what have you. I am curious though a little bit, we touched on it, and you mentioned some of the resources though, just getting in touch with food pantries. What else is available if someone were to call that number and just say, I need some advice, I need some guidance here?
Well, sure. I mean, social services has just such a wide safety net.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's food insecurity, there very likely might be housing insecurity as well. So these are people that are ready to, help mitigate some of those conditions and help wade through like the anxiety and take some of that burden off of people. Childcare issues may be something that social services would be able to help out with as well. And then just, talking people through, like how to help problem solve and get to that place where Perry's talking about, like this is a transient thing or transigent thing. How do we get from here to a state of greater stability, and helping to set those hooks as far as taking your life down like maybe a more solid path, so that food insecurity and its impacts that we see in the K-12, and then we see certainly at Nicolay College from a post-secondary perspective, that follows people for a lifetime.
Absolutely, and we appreciate the work that all of you folks are doing, and it's always so great to check in with the work that's going on, and we appreciate everything you're doing for our communities and for the people involved. We're going to take a break. We're going to be right back on Up North at 4.